Hello, we are Fable Game HK, and I'm Terry, and this is Jack. Today we have an interview with Jack. He is the finalist of the Hong Kong Regional, and he is piloting Oldhim to get the finalist. And today we will interview him for how to pilot the deck. And Jack, can you tell us more about your deck and what do you feel on the event?
Yes, thank you, Terry. So I'm using Oldhim in the regional tournament, and if you have played with me like before Monarch or the Tales of Area, and you may notice I used to play Bravo a lot in the classic construct instead of Oldhim. So what happened to me that made the change in the last few weeks? I have played an armory in like start of November, and I was pretty hopeless at that game because I faced a High Road Briar which plays the Channel Mount consecutively and the Force of Nature. So you can imagine it's a very lucky and terrible combo.
Very good wine and very high damage.
Yes, the combination is too wide that even I pull off all of my cards to defend and my equipments, and I still get hits by the last attack, which enables him to draw a card, and then it goes on. And I think I took like 50 something damage.
52.
Yeah, 52
I remember the
damage.
picture.
Okay, yeah. 52 damage in one turn.
One turn, yeah.
And I just literally get one turn killed. So I start to think, is there any class or hero that can do something in that situation?
Yeah.
Because I simply don't like some games that if my opponent high rolled or being lucky, I can do nothing and just sit and wait for the next game. That's something I hate very much. So I talk about with my friend Joshua, which is also the commentator for the regional event.
Yep.
And we played a few games, and he tried the first for his first time the Lightning Briar with me, and he just told a principle in his mind, and he won. And the principle was he tried to pitch stack the 2 stings of sorceries and 3 ball lightnings to the bottom of his stack, and in the very last turns he can pull off 2 stings and 3 ball lightnings.
Yeah, sting, ball.
Yeah, and it was I think around 30 something damage.
30 something, yeah.
Yeah. So it's another hopeless game for me.
Yep.
Because I failed to disrupt him in the last 2 turns, and I cannot survive in the last turn. So I start to think I might need to switch to other deck like Oldhim, because I really don't like playing Briar. So Oldhim or Lexi is my only choice that can
fits in the meta.
Yes, and maybe possible to defeat Briar. So yep, and I feel like there's not much dash and prism in the meta because they are all pushed out by the Briars.
Yep.
So I start trying Oldhim in the last 2 weeks. So Oldhim to me is kind of a more extreme version of Bravo. Oldhim performs better in defensive and control style. Like if you tends to play a more defensive or control hero, like you like pulling off a few damage and try to watch your opponents try his best, but he cannot even punch through your defense. Oldhim is for you. And Oldhim is, I think, comparatively worse in aggro than Bravo. So one very big question or difficulty for Oldhim players is how do you manage to finish the games within the 50 minutes time limit?
Yeah, within the time.
Yep. So I would like to talk about the cards that I include in the deck. I include the most common cards that most of the Oldhim player will include, like the Oaken Oaths, the Endless Winters, the Command and Conquers, etc. But some options that I preferred, but not everyone did, I would like to talk more about on those. For example, the Reds, I include 3 Enlightened Strikes and 3 Ice Quakes and 3 Staunch Responses. Enlightened Strike is getting more and more popular in these weeks or even months, and I think the versatility for Enlightened Strike is like Art of War. You can play it for 7 if you just want to loop a card into your
Bottom
deck.
of the deck.
Yep, and do some damage, and you can have a reliable go again if you face Prism or Dash, or you have other plans with your hands, and you can, at worst, you can defend for free.
Yep.
So it's like Art of War. Art of War, you can utilize it in many different ways. For the Ice Quakes, is a very interesting one because it costs 1, which fits perfectly with your Command and Conquer. So you can pitch a blue and you can pull off CNC plus Ice Quake for 9. And if it hits, it's 2 on hits effect, which most opponents would not like to take at all. So they will try to defend for 9, and maybe sometimes if you have a card or even some resource remaining, they might even put off defend for 13 because they are afraid of pummel.
Yeah.
Yep. And yep. So I'll continue with the red Staunch Response. I think Staunch Response is a very efficient card with Oldhim because Staunch Response costs for 2, and when you pitch a blue, you got 1 resource left. For even you have used the Staunch Response, so you can either pitch for Arcane Barrier, or you can activate your Seas of Crown, and yeah, you can do a lot of things with it. Even though you do not have your arsenal or the opponent is doing 0 arcane damage, you can use it for your ramparts. So, and the red Staunch Response is so good against common gold Tor decks like the Dorinthir, the Bravo, and maybe even Chain or Briars, because Briars are going wide usually, but for some turns that they might have the Channel Mount or some other high damage cards, you can use 1 card to stop that attack, which is the red Staunch Response. Alright, so for yellows, I think most of them are pretty self-explanatory, but I've mentioned Art of War before, and I think it's a very interesting one. I include it because I saw the discussion happens in the Discord channels for Bravo and for Oldhims in the official Discord, and I think it's a very good place, and if you have never been there, I suggest you to go and have a look, especially in the Bravo Discord, because I think it's the most active place for a game discussion. Yeah, well, sometimes it goes wild for other areas like casual chats or whatever, but most of the time the discussion are very fruitful and very
informative.
very informative and beneficial to me, and I learned learns a lot of things there. And some very famous players like Homerun may even appear there for sometimes. Yeah. So for the Art of Wars, I think it's a very interesting one because it seems like to be a very aggressive cards, but you can actually use it to banish an attack action cards and get 2 more cards for defense purpose. And with the remaining resource, you can either use it for the ramparts, for the Seas of Crown, for arcane barriers. There's so many options you can utilize your resource as an Oldhim. And the other 4 provide another options for you to get a gold gain when you play against Prism or Dash. And yeah,
get an extra block for the with the blocking card with 3, then full block for the 4 and go again cards with Briars.
Yeah. Because the +1 defense for the attack action cards is very meaningful against the Cheerios Briar.
Yeah, just like all the attack action cards use the defense reactions.
Yeah. Because the
blocking 4.
The Scalpel Scars, the Snatch, you can name it. All of them are attacking for 4, and if you don't block it with 1 card only, you're losing hand resources.
Yeah.
And so generally, okay, I skipped the blues. For the blues, I think most of them are either split into two sets of cards. Either you go for the Rouse of the Ancients, which includes some other traditional Guardian cards like the Disable, Cranial Crush, and other attack action cards, which has around 5 or 6 attack damage for the Rouse or for the Ancients purpose. And or you play like my deck, which includes most of the Elemental Guardian cards or Ice or Earths, because I just have no time to test the Rouse for the Ancients package, so I decide to stick with what I'm used to and what I'm familiar with. So yes, so generally you like to play as fast as you can. So you never like you just hate seeing your opponent is running out of cards, but you are going out of time. So even they are like 2 or 3 turns away from deck out, but you cannot finish them in time. So one very important thing is don't be shy. Try to ask your opponents to
play faster.
Yes, to play faster, and
we need to play faster also.
Yes,
as fast as we can.
Yes, reminding them times up will only result in draw, and draw is not beneficial to any of us. And it might fire back because some of them find this kind of statement aggressive, but logical players will find it reasonable, because draw is just bad in Flesh and Blood
for both players.
Yes,
it's worse than losing.
Yes, in my opinion, yes. So try for Oldhim, you would like to try to play defensive, but you will like, or I would say you need to find some turns you need to pivot and make some aggressive plays to try to reduce either the deck size or the health total for both of you. So I was thankful and I'm lucky to have opponents who do not defend at the very last turn to allow me to win, because it's like the first game or the last, the first, the 7th, and the 9th game in my regional that my opponent can either choose they defend the last turn and we draw, or he gave up defend and allow me to finish him, and I will win and he will lose. So all of them decide to let me win instead of drawing the game. So yeah, I'm really thankful to them. And one very last suggestion is, apart from spending lots of time trying to practice how to finish game in 50 minutes, you should also try to play competitively in untimed environments, because when you tend to think faster or think less in the 50 minutes timer, when you suddenly playing untimed matches, you'll find out you cannot think very effectively, or you may miss some very.
Does mean doing some misplay.
Yes, you may have some misplays and maybe some critical errors like me in the final matches. So I recommend all of you to, if you want to play competitively, you should also try to play in untimed environments, but with some players who are willing to play competitively in untimed environments.
Okay, Jack, which matchup do you think is the best for you playing Oldhim?
Well, I think the best matchup for Oldhim is usually the traditional Gold Tor decks, like Dorinthir and Leafear maybe, and ironically the Chain. Because you have too many tools to stop Dorinthir's attack, because they just pull off tons of attack reactions.
Yep.
And they usually do not have extra action points.
Yep.
So you can, and my deck consists of so many defense reactions, and even Oldhim himself can
Pitching for the defense reactions.
It has prevent 2 damage from himself. So it's very hard for Dorinthir to get through Oldhim. And for Leafear, it's quite of similar situations, but easier to manage, because when you defend her for like 5 to 10 turns, he will stack his she will stack her blood depths into
the banish zone.
Yeah, like 10 to 15 maybe, but very good and not that unlucky Leafear player can manage to control her blood depth zones.
Yeah.
But when she misses maybe the scab skin, and or maybe the draw, she will have to take the blood depth.
Yeah. Cannot activate the hero's ability to avoid the blood depth.
Yes, and for some very few games I played with Leafear, she just
die on his own.
Yeah, she just take the blood depths and death. For Chain, because Chain's hero ability is an action which will break the combat chains, so it makes the ramparts very effective against him. So
can be used multiple times and adding extra armor on the shield.
Yes. So if Chain is not piloted extremely well, he cannot pull off enough threats with its limited deck size. And the timing on using his hero's ability is very crucial, because you will need to, Chain will need to time very accurately. He cannot allow us to use his ability to break the chain and allows the ramparts to block more than once.
Yeah.
So you you can look at the final match, and Bun did a very good job on managing the combat chains.
Just like some examples, maybe the Shadow Puppetry with the Soul Shackle, because the Soul Shackle is only activate on the Shadow cards and the Windblade cards.
Yes.
If you're playing the Shadow Puppetry with the and the second you activate the Shackle and you play the Enlightening Strike or the CNC, the Soul Shackle is still there.
Yeah,
for the next Windblade card and Shadow cards for go again.
Yes, exactly. And maybe some very common chain cards like the flock for the weather walkers.
Yep.
If I remember the name correctly, or maybe Snash, whatever. Yeah. So the concept is like this. Against these decks, the Channel Lake and Oldhim's Ice Defense Reaction is a very big stop button to their turns or maybe even their games, because these cards can allow Oldhim to prevent a very explosive turns from them, and when they do not have that explosive turns, they simply just lose most of the games, because once their cards are there and they do not use it, it's gone, because they cannot afford to keep the cards and wait for the next turn.
Yep.
Because Chain will banish his cards and Olivier will take the blood dabs. Yeah. So.
Okay. Then how about which matchup do you think is the worst for Oldhim?
Well, I think this is quite an interesting question for Oldhim, because if I take time into an account, I would say Dash and Prism and Oldhim Mirror are the worst matchups.
Yeah.
For the Dash and Prism is very explanatory, because if Bravo cannot have a very reliable matchup against them, Oldhim will just become worse.
Similar.
Yeah, and worse.
And worse.
And for the Oldhim Mirrors, if you have played before, it's never gonna end in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Unless both of you decide to
Play accurately.
Yeah, play aggro and no defend. And I can talk more about Dash and Prism. Dash is race to kill her before she finds her purifiers. So Oldhim is not that fast enough. Simply not that fast enough.
Even
Unless,
you want to try to go aggro.
yes, because you don't have you have very little card drawing methods, and you cannot find what you need in reasonable time.
I see.
For Prism, even if you got 3 Another Strike and 3 Other Force, you don't have that many action points to destroy her hours before she stack enough advantage against you.
Okay. Then, can you introduce to us which card is the most impressive to you throughout the regionals?
I think, it must be the Other Force, because in the final match, it's the first 2 cards I draw and the last 2 cards I draw.
Oh no.
Literally.
Oh no.
And I just saw him. I just saw them. I did not want them in the first turn, and I did not want them in the last turn. Yep. Well, seriously, I would say Spring Tunic is the most impressive one, apart from the other 4. Yeah, because I was a bit shaky on how Spring Tunic will be used in Oldhim, because it's kind of surprising to see Oldhim not using the tectonic plating or maybe the ice equipment. Sorry, I forgot the name. And actually, it works surprisingly well. And I appreciate. I would like to say thanks to Kelvin Law, because he discussed with me on the Spring Tunic on Oldhim. And Oldhim can easily utilize the extra resource every 3 turns, because you can spend it on the there's so many tools, the seeds, the ramparts. I don't want to name it again, but you can also and you can also pull off some stupid combos out of your opponent's expectations. For example, you can pull off Pummel plus CNC with just a blue pitch and the extra resource from the tunic. And you can even pull off a red ice quake with the tunic, and then you just pitch for the weapon for 7, and if it hits, it creates 2 frostbite. Yeah, that's stupid. So, and I would say I will never regret taking Spring Tunic in every matchup. Yeah, well, yeah, except for the Kanos. Yeah. And one more thing I would like to add is because I for the whole year I play Flesh and Blood, I've never used Spring Tunic in any event, because I either play Reiner, I play Bravo, I play Bolton, and they don't use Spring Tunics. So for the first game for the first Armory, I play Oldhim with Spring Tunic. I missed like 20 something triggers in the whole night. And in the day 2 of the event, a friend of mine gave me a very big D6. Yeah, just not as large as the one in the UK National, but yeah, it's a very impressive one. Yeah, very big one.
Tunic alarm.
Yes. So I checked with the judge if I'm allowed to use it, and they said it's fine. So I use it in the last day, and I never miss a trigger on the Tunic, and I'm very thankful to that too.
And any more you want to say?
Yes, I would like to take this opportunity to thanks and apologize to my wife, because she allows me to join armories after work literally like every day if I want, not only in the November, which is the month of the regional, but also in August, July, or maybe which is the Road to Nationals months, and also back to March. Yeah, so it's like half or maybe more than half of the year, because I was trying to race to the first 1000 XP back in the season 1 of the skirmish, when I saw my friend Yosha just place a second in the season 1 Channel Fireball skirmish. And yeah, she has been very supportive, and she always cheer me up when I perform poorly in my events, and she has given up a lot of outdoor activities with me, like hiking, yeah, whatever, just allowed me to join countless events. Yep. Then I would like to take the chance to thank Doris from Taiwan, who is the shop owner for the Taiwan Cat Footprint in Taoyuan. When there's no official shops and playgroups in Hong Kong, like in 2019 December maybe, yeah, I forget the exact time. Yeah, she introduced 2020. Yeah, she introduced me to Taiwan's different discussion groups and some trading groups, so I can have the chance to enjoy the game when there's just insufficient stocks in the market for the Crucible. Another person I would like to thank is Yosha, who is the I would say the ex-Hong Kong top player, because he moved back to the States, and he's the first player and the first mentor to me for the game, because he approached me when we finished a weekly Magic the Gathering event, and he asked me if I want to try something new and something he finds very interesting, and from then I'm hooked with the Flesh and Blood. We played so many games that, because we are racing to 1000 XP together, and he achieved the 1000 XP before me for like 1 week, and I'm still very thankful for the games, for the experience, for all the things, and I hope he all the best in the States. And yeah, I'm looking forward to see him in the global events.
Yep.
Well, there's others, so many other players that I met and made friends with the game, and I treasure them also. Like Kelvin, the ladder climber with great talent and skills. Terry and Jackie, who work with me in the channel. Bun, who practiced with me before the events and even picked me out before the day 2 starts, because he want to explain how I should approach to chain, because I was facing the chain in the first game in the day 2, and he explained like literally everything, how to avoid breaking the combat chain, how to try to force the chains to block the shoes, the spellbound
creepers.
Yeah, spellbound creepers, sorry. And I really appreciate the helps and the practice he gave me. And I'm really appreciate I can help the locals, because I'm a level 1 judge, and I'm glad when others ask me questions, and I'm trying to help with the channels and all of the questions that they asking me. So lastly, I failed a lot of time throughout the year. I seldom won the local game store armories, because when I was playing Reiner, I just don't get that lucky against all of the areas, the Kanos. Yep. And I try to bring Reiner to the top of skirmish, but I cannot bring him even once. But yeah, I'm happy because in this season 3 there's finally Reiner in the top of the skirmish games for once. And I'm not that talented like Bun, for like Kavanaugh, like Ray, like Mortal. Well, I can list 20 or 30 people like this, because I don't even manage to get a top 8 in the Road to Nationals. But I'm really thankful to the opponents, the games, the whole journeys throughout this year, and I'm happy to qualify into day 2 and become the finalist. So I think qualifying in a place like Hong Kong is very meaningful, because I think Hong Kong is a very competitive area.
High level tournaments.
Yes. So yeah, I hope all Hong Kong players can continue to perform well and try to let the world knows we are very competitive.
Yeah.
And we are actually good players. Thank you.
Okay, this is the end of the interview today, and hope you all you guys healthy, and stay tuned on our channel. See you guys. Bye bye.